G'day team, Simon here from the Feel Good Blueprint. I hope you're doing safe and well, and welcome to the second episode of the Antidote for Uncertainty series. Now just to recap, this is a series that I want to show you some different exercises which can help you find sort of your true north, your vision, mission, your goals, looking beyond what we're currently going through and what we've gone through in the last 6 months. It has been a pretty turbid time, and what I've recently done is I've done these exercises myself. They're principles I've learned from people around me over the culmination of the last sort of 10 years. And I find them really useful and I want to share them with everyone else. Just before we jump into the second exercise, I strongly suggest you go back to the first episode and do the first exercise. This is a really important fundamental step in creating your own vision or mood board for the next 12 to 18 months, sort of looking beyond this situation. So I really suggest strongly that you go and do that. Now, assuming now you've gone and done the first exercise, the vision and mood board, and you've either drawn that or stuck it together into your good book, you should be able now to move on to the next exercise, which I call the Wheel of Life. So here you have the Wheel of Life with the 8 dynamic areas, the standard areas that they use. You can find this on Google as well, and you can Google it and print something out, but I suggest putting together your own circle. This is something I just created for this video, and hot tip, a dinner plate is great for making a circle. Don't tell mum. So there's 8 standard areas, which is family and friends, finances, health, and can be spirituality, primary relationships, so you know your primary relationship, your partner, your personal growth, fun you're having, contribution to other things in society, and business and career. Now these can be interchanged for anything you like. I've actually got a circle where I've got 26 different areas, so you can go quite detailed with it. I'd suggest starting basic if this is your first time doing it. Now as you go through these, you'll need to rate them out of 10. You'll see in the top 3 slices that I've put 3 different versions of that. They all add up to 10. It's really how you want to actually approach this chart and this exercise. Remember, it's an assessment just for you. You can get other people to do it for you and rate you, but really this is your exercise to own. So what you want to go through is each of these areas and rate where you are at the moment, where you are in terms of a snapshot of your life right now. Again, like the first video, I'd suggest finding a distraction-free space where you can actually do this exercise. You really want to get yourself in a mindful state for this as well. So again, I'd suggest 5 to 15 minutes of mindfulness or meditation, finding yourself in a distraction-free space where you can really set the intention to do this exercise and give yourself a fair rating. Again, if it's not your bag, that's fine. Make sure you're just doing it in a right state of mind. You don't want any biases, whether you've had maybe a bad morning or day and you go into this exercise. You may get less accurate results. So what does it look like in practice? You can imagine, look at business and career. What if I just gave myself a 7 there? And then for family and friends, I gave myself a 9 here. And then I did finances and I gave myself, say, a 6. And then when you filled out all these areas, you can actually connect each of the areas. Make sure you use one format of any of these 3. And as you go through, you can actually start to build that web that you want to create. That gives you an idea of how expanded your graph will be and where you sort of need to put more energy and improvement into each of the areas. Now, the 8 areas I've shown you are just the standard 8 areas to begin with, especially if you're starting new to this process. Just start small and easy. You can add additional areas or change them as you wish. It's your life and your lifestyle. You could rate anything you wanted. Now, I said I've got 26. That's because I've been doing it for quite a long time and I add and refine or change as I require. But I'll add them in the description so you can have a look at what those additional areas are too. Keep in mind, this is the kind of chart that you can use for many years to come. If you do a really good version of it, you can actually rate yourself the first time, and then when you're ready, whether it be 6 or 12 months later, you can rate yourself on the same chart to see where you feel you've improved or gone backwards or forwards in each of those areas. And it's really good for looking back and seeing where you've actually improved and actually where you may have gone backwards and what you need to work on. Now, the really cool thing I like to do additionally, which I've not seen many people do, is you can actually total up all of the scores that you got. So say, for example, you're doing really great and for all of the 8 areas, you got 8 for each area, you got 64. Now, the next time you do it the next year later, you've actually got a couple of 9s and a couple of 7s. in different areas. So you want to tally that up, and year on year or 6 months on 6 months, you want to see what your total score is, whether it's gone up or gone down. It just gives you a nice overall picture as well for how you're progressing. What's good about having a nice leather-bound A4 book is that you can kind of fold out old exercises you've done. You can stick them in and you can sort of look at them whenever you want and go back through them. And that's just what I've done here. Now, we're all made differently, which is a beautiful thing, but it means that we're also going to approach this exercise differently. Some will lead with feelings and emotions, some will lead with measured thoughts, and that's completely fine. But what I'd suggest we try and do is be as rounded as we can in our capability in approaching this exercise. For each of the dynamic areas, you may have a feeling, a thought, or a goal of what a 10 is for you in the future. Work to that and give yourself a rating on how close you are to that or how far you are from that, from 1 to 10. As you go along as well, don't spend more than 5 minutes on each of the areas. Really, a 10 is a maximum, sort of pushing it as well. This exercise in total should take no longer than 30 to 60 minutes again. And you really want to make sure you've got a nice finished circle there with all of your dynamic areas linked up to give yourself an idea of a nice basis to begin with. Now go forth and be great.